Hey everybody, welcome back to Gideon Stuff. Today we're going to be taking a look at this very interesting little knife. This is the Kizer Latt, or Latt. So, let's got some fingerprints on the blade. Let's wipe those off first, because I know people get angry about fingerprints on knives. Alright, so this is a new for 2021 model from Kizer. This is the Mini. This is designed by Gauge. Let's jump in with our size comparisons. So first off, here's the Rat 2. So yeah, you can see it's about Rat 2 size. Here's the Rat 1. So it's obviously smaller than the Rat 1. Here he is against our Spyderco PM2. So smaller there, although in terms of sharpened blade length, not that much. And here's our Benchmade bug out. So smaller than both of those. You know, I guess I gotta stop using my size comparison knives because they're always... This PM2 is one of my most used knives, and yeah, you can definitely tell. So it probably messes up the eye candy enjoyment. Let's do our Civivis, which... Where did my Elementum go? I know where it is. Again, another knife that I carry on a regular basis. It was over on my desk. So it's pretty much Elementum size, and it does have a very similar type of blade. And here he is against the Praxis. So the Praxis completely dwarfs this dude. And let's do against our Gerbers. I know, my size comparisons take forever, but I like to show enough knives so that I'm fairly certain that everyone watching has at least experienced one or two of these. So here's against our Gerber paraframes, about the same size as a full-size paraframe. And last size comparisons. Here he is against another front flipper. This is the Civivi McKenna, another budgety. These two are about similarly priced and about similarly sized. And the only other Kizer in my collection at the moment, this is the Jungus, whatever. The big juice buoy. So, there we go. So, as I already said, it's a new for 2021 model. You're looking at a blade made of N690, G10 handle scales and backspacer, steel clip, and steel liners. There are actually 2 liners in there, which is kind of hard to tell because this guy is so light. But, oops, nicked my table. Very interesting knife. As you can see, you have a little tiny flip tab back here and a front flipper. Both of them work pretty well. And yeah, let's go cut some cardboard and let's talk about how this thing carries. All right, let's cut another one of my handy dandy boxes. Different setting, as you can see, in my little apartment living room. Trying different stuff. So here, this knife, not a big knife. I believe the overall length is like 6.8 inches. The blade length is exactly 3 inches. Kind of a spear point, drop point. Very reminiscent of the Civivi Elementum. Behind the edge, I measured between 16 and 17 thousandths, so pretty thin enough. It will definitely get the job done. And yeah, as you can see, it does slice very well. So the blade steel is N690. I don't have a problem with that at all. I think that's a perfectly fine steel. I've been carrying this around as, you know, obviously I'm not on the ranch anymore, but here around campus, carry this around. And very, very nice for just those, you know, small everyday type of needs. So let's go take a closer look, shall we? So how does the Kizer Mini Latt Vind carry? Well, as you can see, we have a clip with flat screws. However, the clip itself is not recessed. This isn't my ideal configuration because it leads to a little bit of wiggle, and indeed this clip has a little tiny bit of wiggle. I could probably fix that by crunching those down a little bit more, but whatever. In the pocket, yeah, it disappears, and this knife weighs 2.2 ounces. This knife is so light. This is not, I knew this was a small knife when I got it, and it's even lighter than I thought it would be. This knife weighs basically nothing. Weighs more than a bug out. Well, it still weighs basically nothing. So, very, very pleased with that. In, out, just fine. Action. It's a very good action for both the for both the regular flipper and the front flipper. There is one thing that's a little bit weird, and that's when you push the lock aside. Like, see, I have the lock. We'll show this again closer up. The blade doesn't quite fall. You have to give it a little bit of a shake, and then it does fall. But overall, carry's great, action's great. Let's go back to the table and talk about him a little more in depth. All right, so the Kizer Mini Latt Vind. This was one of the first new knives for 2021 that I wanted to get my hands on. I thought it looked really, really cool. So I'm going to say that first. Let's get into what I like and what I don't like so much about this guy. So, what do I like? First of all, this is pretty different. This is kind of a different knife. I always love knives where the blade folds up pretty much completely into the handle. That's always something that appeals to me. And I think that, you know, this is a pretty unique knife because not only is it a flipper and a front flipper, but that one flipper deployment area is pretty darn unique. So, uniqueness is always a good thing in my book. Next thing I like is that minimal hardware. You have one screw here and one screw here. And then, of course, your clip screws, but yeah, that's it. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. I always like seeing that. Next thing I like is the weight. You know, I'm one of those people that I'm not super concerned about my knife being featherweight or whatever. You know, I mean, for being honest, this is what I've been carrying a lot lately. This is 10 ounces. So, you know, I'm not someone who really cares about weight that much. But sometimes it is nice to have a knife that's this light. I can definitely tell why a lot of people want something like this. You know, when I'm here at college, you know, going to classes, walking around campus, I prefer to carry something kind of like this as opposed to this. Both for, you know, just social acceptability and convenience. But, you know, so the knives that are this size and weight definitely have their place, and I appreciate that. Next thing I like, this blade. This is a great little blade. Drop point, spear point, very, very similar to the Civivi Elementum in a lot of ways. Full flat grind. Good thinness behind the edge. Very good performing knife. Whenever I carried this guy, I didn't feel like I was giving up anything performance-wise. N690 is a steel that I really like. In fact, it's probably one of my favorite budget steels. I think it's pretty nice. Fairly easy to sharpen. Edge retention is pretty good. It's better than what I kind of thought it would be. And pretty tough. And very stainless as well. So N690 is just fine by me. And this blade overall is very nice. You can do kind of puncture tasks, cuts like that. Very nice for slicing. Another thing about this blade that's really great is if you look at the spine, this is a crowned spine. Which, yeah, you don't typically see that much of. But man, I do like seeing it. So, crown spine is always nice. Another thing I like, the jimping here. You can see that the jimping on the bottom here provides a good spot for your finger to grab onto while your thumb pushes down up here. And it gives you a very, very solid grip. This knife is not going anywhere. So I really appreciate that. Next thing I like is the action. This is a great action. You pull back on that little flipper tab and it just fires. Front flipping, yeah, no problems. This is a great knife. You know, whenever someone is telling me, oh, well, I want to try my very first front flipper, I always recommend that they get a knife that has other deployment options besides the front flipper, you know, whether it's thumb studs or a blade hole or another flipper tab. And that way, you know, they can still open the knife until they get the hang of the front flipper. And so this is a knife that I would definitely recommend to someone as their first front flipper because the action with both deployment methods is very good. Which brings me to another thing I like, the Fidget Factor. This is great. This is great for, you know, a lot of times, you know, we talk about, well, you know, this knife, you know, from a user's perspective is X and Y effective, and it doesn't do this very well, and if you have rope to cut, you can do this. But, I mean, most of us sit around and play with a knife while we're watching TV, which is A-okay. And this knife is very good at that. And it's fun. Man, this is a fun knife. It's very, very fun. So, that's great. Another thing that's great is the colors. I like the colors here. It's Boba Fett. I mean, come on. Look, this is Boba Fett's colors. And the other, you can get another version of this that's black with a white inlay and a white backspacer, I believe. It's a Stormtrooper. So, that's cool. I'm a Star Wars nut, so that's always appreciated for me. And, okay, yeah, here's what I want to talk about real quick before we go into the kind of neutral things and the bad things. So this is the Mini. Kizer also has a large size, and it's more premium. I think it's about $160, has S35VN blade steel, and it is a titanium frame lock. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not interested in that because I don't think frame lock front flippers are the best. I mean, I just front flipped this guy. Look where my hands were. If this had been a frame lock, my hands would have been on the lock bar. So, or my fingers, not my hands. Yeah, all 5 of my hands. But, yeah. That actually reminds me, though, there's something I brought up that I like that I didn't mention, and that's the price. This guy is about $65, $70. Yeah, that's good. That's good. I definitely pay that. You know, the Civivi McKenna, it's about $63. Yeah, I'll definitely pay that for this. All right, so let's go into kind of some neutral things and some bad things. So the first kind of neutral thing is this knife can feel a little bit flimsy, but I hesitate to even mention that because this isn't trying to be a hard-working knife. This is kind of a gentleman / just light EDC knife, and I think it's perfectly fine for that. You know, I honestly do think that, you know, hard use knives have their place. Heck, during the summer times, I work on a ranch. I grew up on a ranch. I love these type of knives, and I use them, and I beat the hell out of them. However, I'm also a college student now. So when I'm going to college, this is all I need. I'm living in the city, and this is honestly all I need. So yeah, I'll go with there. Another thing that's not quite bad, not quite good, is the ergonomics on this guy are just kind of plain. You have this little swell here that I kind of thought it would help my hands kind of fit it. And I mean, you get positive retention when you grab up here and up here. It's really good. I don't know. It is kind of a small grip, but yeah, ergos they're okay. They're not terrible. They're not like offensive, like, oh, get this away from me. But they're also not, oh, these are so comfortable. So yeah. All right, so let's get into some things that are bad. I do kind of wish the clip was reversible because I don't know. I've said before, I like seeing knives for lefties. I'm not left-handed myself. I know a lot of people that are, though. And so I wish that there were more lefty-friendly knives. And this knife would actually, heck, me as a non-lefty, it's very easy for me to use this knife. Whoops, I say as I fail the front flip spectacularly. There we go. So, yeah. Another thing, oh, there's something I forgot to mention in the good. These are actually contoured. Oh, and another thing I forgot to mention. This is running on internal stop pins. So that's always nice to see. Those aren't really good things. Those are just things I forgot to mention. Anyways, they're not bad either, though. When I got mine, the centering was ever so slightly off. I fixed that. Not a big deal. Something that does kind of bother me, though, is this. All right, so knife is open, lock is engaged. Let me push the lock out of the way. There's this really weird, I don't know why, but the blade doesn't quite close it doesn't fall. When you give it a shake, it drops. But when you relieve that lock bar, it does. I don't know. It's not really a complaint, but it is what it is. Another thing, the sound's kind of, that has a unique sound, and I can't decide if it's something I like or don't like. Because sometimes I'll be sitting around playing with this guy, I'm like, ooh, I like that sound. And other days I'm like, I don't like that. It's like got a hollow kind of thunk. I'm not sure if that's coming through on camera, but I don't know. Anyways, not a whole lot of bad here. I'm nitpicking really hard. Nitpicking? That might be a term that the EDC community has to adopt. Nitpicking in honor of Nick Shabazz, who can pick a knife apart like no one else's business. Anyways, beside the point. Do I like this knife? Yes, 100%. Can I recommend it? Yes, 100%. Should you go buy one? Yes, 100%. This is awesome. This is a great little fidgety knife. And I really like it. And that's all I can say about it. It's fantastic. So if you like what you see, go get one. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. I've been Gideon stuff. Out.